Hello, welcome back. I'm Laura Nicola, your faithful therapist. Thank you for being here. Today's video is on kind of the origin of mental health and why it exists in this world. So, a disclaimer here to start. I am not a philosopher. I am not a priest. I am not, trained in the spiritual. I am a therapist. So, these are just my opinions on where mental health comes from, and it's just been formed in my own opinion kind of throughout the years of working as a therapist. So that's my disclaimer. So take whatever you hear with a grain of salt, knowing that I am talking through a lens of, being a faith-based therapist and nothing more. So in my opinion, mental illness was born after the original sin. So when Adam and Eve fell in the Garden of Eden, like a lot of other things that came after that, I think mental illness was one of those. When they had the original sin, after that there was death, there was physical ailments, there was shame, there was vulnerability, there was deception. All of that. And so I don't think mental illness was kept from existing in the world at that point. So I see mental illness as something that God allows to happen to us, but not necessarily something that he wants. So, like a lot of other things, right? Like he allows things to happen like premature death of somebody, or a natural disaster, or a 2020 global pandemic, right? Like he allows these things to happen, not because he enjoys or revels in our hurts or our misery, but because we have free will. And that all kind of, again, stemmed after the original sin. God loved us so much that he wanted to give us free will. And so he had to allow things to happen. And I think mental illness was just one of those things. A question I get asked a lot from my clients is, okay, well, if God allowed this, then is this my cross to bear? Should I endure this as, something that God has given me to grow from it? Or, like this is just meant to be, that I'm depressed my whole life, or I suffer from anxiety, or, I have this addiction. But deep down, I feel like the answer is that we're not just called to endure it. It's not just our cross to bear. Because truly, I think that God wishes the best for us. He loves us so much. He doesn't want us to be hurt. He doesn't want us to suffer with anxiety or depression or any other mental illness. So I think there's a tricky balance here that we have to have, because I think we have to, while experiencing the symptoms of a mental illness, for example, I think that we can cope with faith, and I think we can identify it as a sort of suffering. And there's a lot of fruits that can come from suffering, right? Just read any Life of the Saint and, we'll see suffering there. So I think while we're in the midst of it, I think that there's a great opportunity to connect that suffering, that mental illness, to our faith. At the same time, I think that we can try to work on extinguishing the mental illness. That's why I have a job. That's why I do what I do. I believe that I can help people manage the symptoms of their mental illness, or, fully extinguish it possibly if it's not chronic. And I wouldn't be in this work if I didn't think that it was, acceptable to God to help people cope with their mental illness and feel better. So I guess I kind of see it as, both, right? Like while we're struggling, we might as well use our faith to cope with it, and we might as well unite it to suffering in a way that we can connect our faith and our illness to God's will. And I think that we can also work on coping with it in the hopes that, if we work hard enough, that we will be free from the mental illness. So I think it's both. So again, these are just my opinions, throwing them out there. Again, I'm biased, I'm a therapist, so I would love to know what you guys think. Where does mental illness come from? Why does God allow it? Is it some sort of punishment, which I definitely don't think it is. So please leave comments, let me know your thoughts. I really want to know. Also, be sure to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook, I do different tips and insights and information there as well. So be sure to follow, subscribe, and many blessings to you. Okay, take care.